Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at this 1963 Chrysler Turbine. Normally this would be like a model car overview, but I think I'm going to do more on the car itself rather than the model. Chrysler Turbines were painted in what was called Fire Mist Metallic. It was later renamed Turbine Bronze. They were just standard 2-door, 4-passenger. They weren't very radical as far as design wise. They look pretty standard to a car of the 60s. However, some styling was executed in the front and the rear. As you can see, the wildly style rear end was very dramatic and it was very unique to the turbine car itself. It did feature just standard taillights and integrated turn signals, and the chrome nacelles, however, it appeared to be turbine exhaust, but they just housed the backup lamps. Of course, in the back you have your turbine badge. You can get a good look at that stunning paint job as well. On the front, had a traditional grille, and then in the headlamp area it had the turbine nacelles, and below those we had your turn indicators. Of course, you had your Turbine by Chrysler Corporation badge up front. All the cars featured a black vinyl roof. The engine that Chrysler used was Chrysler's 4th generation of jet turbine engines. This particular one is the A831. It is a standard turbine engine. They ran very, very smoothly and would run on anything that was flammable, including jet fuel. The engines were remarkably smooth. They had a majority of their torque and power available at a very low speed. Generally, almost all of the 425 pound-feet of torque was available at 2,500 RPM. However, the cars idled at 22,500 RPM. They featured a 60,000 RPM tach, but the maximum operating speed for the car's engine was 44,500 RPM. They did develop just a meager 125 horsepower. However, they were very, very torquey, and they were fed through the 3-speed Torque Flight automatic transmission that was specially modified for this vehicle. On the turbine exhaust gases were exited behind the car via a very wide dual heat extractor. Each extractor outlet was about the size of 4 exhaust tips. The turbine gases that were inside the heat extractors was about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. When they exited, they were about 198 degrees Fahrenheit. Far less than a conventional vehicle. And contrary to popular belief and rumors, they actually did not melt the cars behind them or the asphalt. And inside, the turbine was very nicely equipped for a car of its age and during that time frame. Had manual adjust passenger or driver side mirror. However, it did have power windows, manual seats with seat back adjust, and it was 4 bucket seats. They had a very nice copper colored leather with a calfskin pleated inserts. white face gauges. They were electroluminescently illuminated. The gauges include, on the far left, you had your turbine inlet temperature gauge. You've also had your amps and your oil pressure. Centrally mounted was your 120 mile per hour speedometer with your fuel gauge. You've also had your odometer and your trip odometer. And then on the far right, you had your 60,000 RPM tach with your analog clock. You have your torque flight transmission lever. You've also got various controls for your heater fans. You've also got your light controls, interior light controls. And that block there behind the steering wheel is your transmission selector readout. Then of course you had various controls along the center console as well. Handbrake. Looking at the passenger side, you had your call out strip that had various warning lights as well as controls. Also had an AM radio that was electroluminescently illuminated as well. As you can see, the turbine interior theme. Tastefully done without being too overly dramatic, and it fit well with the car. Of the 55 Chrysler Turbine cars produced, 50 of them were for the consumer test and 5 of them were prototypes. It is to date the largest consumer test for turbine-powered vehicles. The vehicles were designed by Elwood Ingle. The bodies and interiors were built in Turin, Italy at the Ghia factory. They were later shipped to Detroit, Michigan to Chrysler's Turbine headquarters and assembled on site. Only a very few exist anymore. Most of them are in private museums. 2, however, are running. One is owned by a gentleman in Terre Haute, and the other one is owned by Jay Leno. You can see his video on YouTube. It's very, very interesting. It has detailed looks at how the turbine engine works, what the car sounds like, how it drives, and the history behind it. I just did this video because the turbine car is very fascinating to me. And this does about conclude my look at the 1963 Chrysler Turbine car. And as always, thanks for watching.